On this episode of This is Game Boy, a ninja, a priest, and a rabbi walk into a bar. Says the bartender, "Nice to see you two." Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of This is a Game Boy. Like always, I am here, Moelle, so hello everybody. With me,
here.
as usual, is also eBloodyCandy. The notes still say Baltic, but it's eBloodyCandy. So
Hello. That's because you write the notes.
that's true. I probably wrote these like 3 months ago or something like that. But yeah, we have a special guest here today because this is also a very special episode. And with us is NMEtv.
Hello, everyone. I like that you went back to eBloodyCandy, EBC.
Thank you.
That's a cool name.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I get confused all the time now, but
Yeah, I do too. That's why I say Tony.
yeah, it's sometimes hard, but I try to incorporate the eBloodyCandy name back again.
I gotta keep everyone on their toes. That's the biggest thing. It's like, well, I thought you were Baltic. Well, you thought wrong.
That's
well, I
right.
thought you were EBC. Well, no, wrong again.
Yeah, and it's always a lot of fun to change all of our links and descriptions in everything.
It
It's
took
a lot
me
of fun.
so long to switch everything back to EBC, and then as I was going through like the old stuff, like I could tell where like you or someone just like gave up because I got to the point where it was like Baltic, and then like the next episode was EBC or eBloodyCandy. I was like, oh, this is where they gave up.
Absolutely. That's how it goes. But yeah, anyways, before we start with this, I always say this week's episode, but we're not doing this weekly, but whatever. This episode's game, let's talk a little bit about what we have been up to in the meantime. I'll start because I probably have one of the shortest lists. I literally played the Amnesia collection. Which is The Dark Descent, Justine, which is a DLC, and A Machine for Pigs. I don't know why people find these games scary. They were very boring, in my opinion. I didn't even care about the story at all in either of them. But yeah, for me, it's not scary. And maybe it's because I've played so many scary games over the years and seen so many scary movies over the years that I've just become numb to everything. But just darkness doesn't scare me. I mean, you can use darkness in a good way in video games to make something scary, but if it's just literally, oh, it's dark, you can't see anything, I don't know how that is supposed to scare me. It actually maybe pisses me off a little bit more because I can't see what the hell is going on in my game, and then I have to turn on the brightness, and that kind of ruins the experience as well.
So you just turn up the brightness.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I have to go somewhere, but I can't see anything on my screen except for a blackness. Yeah, that's, I don't know. I don't like that kind of game design. I don't think it's scary at all. I hope other types of these games are better, but usually these first-person horror games, they just don't do it for me. I can't get into them. Except for Layers of Fear. That's probably the only one
Layers of
I
Fear is
actually
really
like.
good.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's literally everything I've been playing.
So not only did you not like it as a game, but if it's primarily darkness, it wasn't even a good tech demo.
No, it was not.
That's disgraceful.
Yeah,
No
that's
Trip World, that's for sure.
it's no Trip World.
Well, they can't all be as good as Trip World, a wonderful video game.
Yeah, it's the most amazing tech demo there is. So you have to give them credit for that.
So you're not playing Rebirth, is what you're saying?
Amnesia Rebirth, no. I am watching it on Scary Game Squad. They are playing through it, and it just looks exactly, well, not looks exactly the same because it's in a different setting, but it's the same deal. It's like, oh, it's dark,
It's a
I have to
prequel.
turn on all the lights, but I can't turn on all the lights because I don't have enough items, although that game is literally filled with matches that you have to use. But it's just not fun. It's like, okay, I can't see anything. How is that supposed to scare me? I don't know.
My big problem with like Amnesia and Outlast is like the resource mechanism.
Mm-hmm,
Like Amnesia, you have to have the oil for the lantern, basically to like get through the game. Otherwise, you just can't see anything. PG-13, sorry, legs. And then in Outlast, you got to collect those batteries for the camera to turn on the night vision. And like honestly, that ruins it for me because I'm so focused on the resource and making sure that I have the thing to continue through the game than actually pay attention to the game itself. So I end up hacking the game and just having unlimited resources.
That's also a way to do it. Yeah, I must say the DLC Justine and the Machine for Pigs do it better. In Justine, you do not need any resources at all, and in the Machine for Pigs, you just have a lantern that always works, that you just have to put away if an enemy is chasing you. So they did it better in those two things, but now in the new one, it's just straight back to the first game, and that's quite dumb. What Amnesia does do well is, because a lot of these types of games depend on being chased by a monster constantly. And with constantly, I literally mean constantly. It's like you cannot take in the game because you're just running away, trying not to get killed. Amnesia actually does that well. There's only a few moments where you have to, quote unquote, escape or hide. So they did that correctly, at least. But again, the things that chase you or that try to get you, they were so lame that I just didn't care at all. I didn't care. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. Baltic, what have you been up to?
I played NBA Jam for the Game Boy and cramped my hand for 6 hours.
Yes.
The controls, like the game is fun. It's NBA Jam. You miss the announcer, but it's NBA Jam. But the fact that the start button is turbo, like you got to hold that controller real weird. Outside of that, I did that Shipu Iron Leaguer game that's in the Tiny 10. Super fun game. Really cool game. Honestly, we should do an episode about it. It's actually really fun. Except for the soccer minigame. That game can eat one. But that's all I've literally been up to. I started playing Code Vein, which is anime Dark Souls, because anime. But outside of that, that's really all I've been up to. So we'll move on to NME, because I know NME has done a large marathon this past weekend and is going to be doing some other stuff here.
Yeah, before this week, I would have had nothing to say, really, about what I've been up to, because I was gone for some 14 months, at least from streaming. I was actually still playing some games here and there, and did some stuff that was outside the box. I learned, the Final Fantasy speedrun for Nintendo, and finally got around to getting halfway decent at Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which was the game that got me into speedrunning in earnest in the first place. But most recently, I've come back to streaming, and I was raising money for my kids' school, and the community was absolutely beyond generous, just absolutely crushed it. We raised almost $2,000 of a goal of 500. So
amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I hope the school is very pleased. I'm sure they are. Yeah, it was absolutely great. As of the recording today, the run for which we raised the money was supposed to happen, but it's raining and lousy weather here, so it got postponed a week. But yeah, so to raise that money, I got it in my head that actually my wife suggested, why don't you go do some streams and try to, maybe you could raise some money that way. I was like, well, hello, anxiety, my old friend. Sure, let me just walk back through those doors and hope that anyone cares. And thankfully, people cared, and that was awesome. And once she had that idea, I said, okay, what's the dumbest way I can do this? And the dumbest way was, let's just play 75 games. It wasn't like 75 wasn't the number that I came up with off the top of my head. It was going to be more than that, but I thought sleep was a good idea, and thank goodness I did, because just the little sleep that I got during this thing was that I was rough around the edges for a lot of the marathon. But haven't streamed in a while, so I had to get my sea legs back about me. But yeah, we played through 75 games. over the course of 3 days. So I think it ended up being like 38 hours of total stream time or something like that, which isn't, I mean, other people, like you mentioned Infinite Mystery already, that's just a Tuesday for him. But but for, us mere mortals, especially when you're out of practice with this stuff, it was surprisingly tough. And but it was great to be back in the chair streaming and playing so much variety. God, so many good games. A lot of them I had just mentioned. Didn't get around to playing Final Fantasy 1, but since it is Halloween season, I'll mention specifically the G&G series, but in particular Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which is a game I've run at GDQ, a game that I love-hate. It's weird to say that I love a Ghouls and Ghosts game, but because they don't love you back, it's a very one-way relationship, but that game's been very good to me. In the aggregate. And then, of course, Gargoyles Quest 2, which is a game I'm sure you guys are familiar with, at least the Game Boy version. I played the NES version, but I think they're very similar. It's a wonderful game. They're both wonderful games, but that NES game is great. A late model NES game, and you're really squeezing as much as they can out of the system at that point. So yeah, it's a lot of fun doing the marathon, a lot of fun with those two games in particular. And I did get to play the game we're talking about today, as well as part of the marathon, which is Ninja Gaiden Shadow. So that was my prep for the podcast today. Just it's 1 of 75. That'll probably be sufficient to jog my memory, and I feel like it was.
I had your stream on in the background the entire weekend, and I remember I woke up from a nap and I hear this boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh, that sounds so familiar. And I hear this, ba-da-da.
Yep.
I'm like, oh no, he's playing Barbie.
Yep. Yep.
Just immediately knew it after like 2 sound effects.
Yeah, when you throw together something that covers such a wide swath of games like that, and you want a lot of volume because you want to provide enough content where people care and are interested, and in our case donate because it was for charity, really. You have to get what you can get on there, and while I know more Game Boy games than Barbie and Crayon Shin-Chan 4, and technically don't even know Kirby. Although I feel like you gave me some propers for Kirby, which I felt like it went way better than I expected, to be honest.
Get a sub 20, you're good.
Yeah, I got like a low 19. I think you said I got. So yeah, it's sufficient. But yeah, I just it's like I can do this without derusting because there's only so many hours of the day in that amount of volume.
Oh, yeah.
You have to pick and choose what you derust because it's just not all gonna happen. So Barbie made the cut, Crayon Shin-Chan made the cut. And it all worked out. Hey, Barbie's a fun game, though. I don't care what anyone says. It's really easy once you know what to do. I don't know how anyone would get through that final stage with all the doors if you were just doing it blind. That would be a beast.
You eventually just get to the point where, like, even if you've entered through every door wrong, it just gets you to the end.
That seems like something that game would do. Yeah.
I've done it before. I was like, I wonder if there's a faster way through this, and yeah, it just eventually just takes you to the final door.
That's okay. Yeah, I should have seen that coming.
Yeah.
Or you can just be like me and skip 4 of the stages of the game. Like that's always a fun thing to do.
Wait, how's that?
No one knows yet.
Oh, it was just like some wacky, weird thing that happened one time?
Yeah, so like Mo was in stage 2 of the when you're the mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a glitch in the game where if the falling plank like hits like a sub-pixel or pixel outside of your hitbox, it actually cuts the music and resets it. Okay. And then Mo finished the stage and literally just like warped to the final stage.
That's interesting.
But I know glitches in the game that you can go out of bounds and overflow the game and just crash it.
Yep.
It's really easy to do. It's really well programmed.
I love stuff like that in games. That's one of the great aspects of speedrunning that I really enjoy, even though that's not, a primary focus of mine or even a secondary focus, but stuff like that, when you stumble across it, it's just so interesting, and how we can bring more juice out of these games after 30 years of them existing or whatever. That's so neat to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, look how Super Mario Brothers 1. Everyone thought that record was dead when
Right.
Starbian got it, right? And then now it's still going down.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. But, yeah. So, Mo, what game are we talking about today?
Well, NME mentioned it already, of course. But we're talking about Ninja Gaiden Shadow for Game Boy. So we will dive into what this game is all about right after this banger of a song.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. What the hell is this big paragraph before the normal stuff?
Well, that's something we have to address first, so let's get the elephant out of the room before we actually dive into the game. A lot of people know this game, and they are probably immediately gonna say, oh, but this is not Ninja Gaiden, this is Shadow of the Ninja. You are technically correct. So this game was originally under development as a Shadow of the Ninja game, and for people who don't know what Shadow of the Ninja is, it was basically Natsume's clone of Ninja Gaiden for NES. And it was even promoted in one of the issues of Nintendo Power as an upcoming Shadow of the Ninja game for Game Boy. But later in production, near the end, they actually changed it into a Ninja Gaiden game. Why? Nobody really knows because there's no information about it, but it's probably due to the fact that the Ninja Gaiden franchise was just way more popular than Shadow of the Ninja, because Ninja Gaiden already had all 3 games at this point. There was only one Shadow of the Ninja game out there. Like the second Shadow of the Ninja game actually came out in 2000, I believe, for Game Boy Color. So there's a big gap in between those things. So from a marketing point of view, it would have been better just to go with Ninja Gaiden because it would just sell more copies, like period. That's probably the only reason why they did it. And yeah, like I said, this was a Ninja Gaiden clone to begin with, so it kind of makes sense that they would just revert it into a Ninja Gaiden game anyways. But yeah, Natsume, the creators of Shadow of the Ninja, pretty much made the entirety of the game up until the end, and then Tecmo came in and just changed around some sprites, changed the story a little bit to tie in with the other Ninja Gaiden games, and so on. But this is also the only time ever that these two companies work together for a video game, which is kind of weird. It's something that never actually happened back in those days because they were all competitors. Like nowadays you have Nintendo, Sega working together and things like that. That's pretty normal. But back then it was actually a pretty big deal that they went for this. So yeah, saying this game is not a Ninja Shadow game is basically wrong because they did make it into a Ninja Gaiden game. So you cannot say anymore that it's Shadow of the Ninja. Not at all, because they completely rechanged it. There's no version out there that is actually Shadow of the Ninja. Maybe there's a beta version somewhere in the atmosphere, but nobody has ever seen it before. So yes, this is a Ninja Gaiden game, and we are gonna talk about it like it is a Ninja Gaiden game. Saying it isn't is like saying that Journey to Silius is actually Terminator. Also true, but they changed it into Journey to Silius, so you can't say that it's a Terminator game. Same goes for another example. Devil May Cry was first meant to be a Resident Evil game, but they changed it to Devil May Cry, so now it's a Devil May Cry game. So I think people should really stop saying, no, this is Shadow of the Ninja. It's not. It's Ninja Gaiden. There we go. So yeah, that's our intro to this game.
Huh.
Before we get going more, since this is a Natsume game, I don't know if there would be like a good opportunity to talk about Natsume, but I have a little bit of like a weird Natsume story. I love Natsume games. I'm a big fan of music from this area in video games. Like I played Abadox a lot growing up, and I still speedrun it. But a big fan of that game. And then I found out about Shatterhand, a few years back, and that's just such a blowaway game. It kind of mixes the appealing music and like level select stuff of Mega Man, and has that action quality, kind of more similar to, I guess, a Castlevania without a whip. And then you get into Shadow, or what's the NES game called? Shadow, what the heck is it? It says it right here. Shadow Warriors. That's it. Is that no? It's Warrior of the Shadow. What the heck is the NES game called that this is based on?
The Shadow of the Ninja.
Shadow of the Ninja. Whatever.
Yeah.
Combination of Ninja, Shadow, and Warrior.
Or Blue Shadow in Europe, actually.
Oh well, see, that's why I was confused, because I was thinking the European name. Anyway, so Natsume put out all these great games, and it just like everyone knows the Konami sound profile and the Capcom sound profile, and first party Nintendo sound stuff. And then like Natsume kind of I feel like flew under the radar. It is so good on so many different levels with those games, and so. Every once in a while, like Natsume put out that Wild Guns remake a few years back, and they keep doing stuff like Harvest Moon. I don't know if it's remakes or new games or whatever. Games that I've played a little bit of Wild Guns, but I got the remake actually. But I don't know them so much. So I'm always like being a cheeky fella. I'm like, remake Abadox, you cowards. So do you know what they told me? They actually responded to me. Do you want to know what they said? They said there are two different Natsumes. We're the other Natsume. Leave us alone. which I honestly got. They may or may not have actually said leave us alone, but the tone was clearly leave us alone.
Well, there are two of them, yeah.
So there are actually two, because I thought that was just like their social media coordinator, like this idiot. Abadox in 2020. Yeah, that's definitely going to happen, fella. I thought there was just their way of saying kiss off. So there were two Natsumes. Really? That's wild. How is any of this?
Yeah, so we always go over the developer anyway. So yeah, this was Natsume, and back then I think it was still the same company. They started as just Natsume, one company, but later they got split into Natsume Atari and Natsume Inc. So that's why there's two now, actually.
So which one's which? How would I know? Natsume Atari, Natsume Inc.
So the games that are produced under Natsume Inc. is the pre-split, basically. That's where your Abadox is at, and our Amazing Penguin, Spanky's Quest, Ninja Gaiden Shadow,
Quest, yeah.
Tailgater.
Yeah, and then in the mid-ish 90s is when the split would happen, basically, between Natsume Inc. and Natsume Atari. So, and I think the official name changed from Natsume Co. to Natsume Atari in, like, 2013.
So those Natsume Inc. games, are they just in the ether for now / forever?
They're probably in some person's closet on a floppy disk.
Yeah. That's a shame. Right.
Most likely, yeah.
I really want
to. But your Natsume Ataris, like that's your Ninja Warriors, your Amazing Power Rangers Zero Battle Racers.
Sure. Okay. All those games that are getting
Boy
remade, I guess.
Yeah. Game Boy Color, your Tony Hawk Pro Skaters for Game Boy Color. Yeah, Road to WrestleMania on GBA.
Of course. I mean, who can't forget?
Kirby Squeak Squad. I mean,
I love how deep you go with this stuff. That's so fantastic.
Yeah. Speaking of confusing naming schemes,
yes.
let's go into the naming conventions for these Ninja Gaiden games. So everybody just knows Ninja Gaiden, sure, okay, that's a well-established name. But of course, in Europe, it was released under the name Shadow Warriors. The reasoning behind that I kind of briefly touched upon during the Turtles episode, where they changed ninja to heroes. I think I said back then that it was because of Germany. Not true. Actually, it's because of the UK.
I was going to say, I always heard it was England that was weird about the word ninja.
There's like two censorships going on in Europe. One coming from the UK, the other coming from Germany. Germany is mostly blood that gets changed into green or blue instead of red. Things like that. Also, no mentioning of Hitler or anything of that, so that's not possible. But the ninja thing came from the UK, where during the 80s they just literally banned the word ninja and everything associated with it. So the nunchucks from Michelangelo were not allowed in Europe. In the cartoon, they actually changed it after season 3 in the US as well to a whip, I believe, or a rope or something like that. It's just dumb. But yeah, that's why in Europe we know the game as Shadow Warriors. And that goes for the NES version as well as the Game Boy version. So this game just came out as Shadow Warriors in Europe. So in America, it came out as Ninja Gaiden Shadow, which is fine, which kind of goes into the whole thing that it's actually a Shadow... Jesus, see, now I'm even getting confused.
Shadow of the Ninja.
Shadow of the Ninja game, that was kind of the reference to that, but it can also just be because we call it Shadow Warriors in Europe, so that's already weird. In Japan, this is called Ninja Ryukenden. I'm not sure what Ryukenden means, but I know the main guy is called Ryu, but I'm not sure what Ryu. Is it Ryukenden or Ryuken? Again, they're another naming convention that makes no sense. But if that's not even enough, this game also got a release in Asia, and there it's called Ninja Skyscraper Fight, which absolutely makes no sense.
It does. It
makes perfect sense.
Because it's in New York, I guess there's a lot of skyscrapers, sure, but besides that, it has no tie into any of the other.
Plus, you use
games.
the grapple to climb up everything, which I guess makes them skyscrapers on some level. Yeah, no, I guess makes more sense than changing Ninja Gaiden to Shadow Warriors.
Blue Shadow.
Or Blue Shadow.
He's purple.
Well, the guy from Shadow of the Ninja is actually blue, so that made sense. But they have a lot of fun with these naming conventions just because of censoring everything. But let's just call it Ninja Gaiden Shadow because that's really what it is.
Sure.
And to touch off of all of that, so after all the fun names, this thing came out in Japan and in America in December of 1991, and then would come out in Europe in 92, which, from what we've seen, kind of isn't a surprise. Europe usually always gets it later.
Yeah, usually like a month later, so that's probably January or something.
Yeah, and then Asia's comes out in 1992 as well, so pretty close. It's nothing like Dr. Franken 2, where there's 7 years difference, so that's good. So we've already touched base on the developer Nasube, Amazing Penguin, probably the most amazing Game Boy game. Tecmo, though, we didn't touch base much on the publisher Tecmo. No one really knows who Tecmo is. They made a couple football games and like a Solomon game, but
yeah, besides that, nothing to mention.
Bo Jackson's Quest for the End Zone. That was a pretty hot RPG back in the day. Guy Rygar. You had no lives in that game, and it made no
I
sense.
I liked Rygar.
No, Rygar's actually awesome.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Except for the European version, which is not awesome, because you can't get enough experience points in there to get a full health meter. So.
Oh, I've never played the European version.
Yeah, just don't. Unless you're a speedrunner, then it doesn't matter, of course, if you have full health or not. But
speed running.
Yeah, who does that? Who does that? Yeah, we have the composer for this game. No surprise, because this is a pretty popular game, actually. But the composer for this is Hiroyuki Iwatsuki. Wow, that's a very rhyming name, actually. Yeah, made a lot of soundtracks. Just for Game Boy Tailgater was one of them, like I mentioned before. But another few games that they did were, of course, Ninja Gaiden Shadow, because we were talking about that. Shatterhands, Pocky and Rocky. That's a very well-known game. Wild Guns, like NME mentioned. Spanky's Quest, sure. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, a fighting edition. I have no idea what that is, but a lot of the Power Rangers games, some Gundam games here and there. Half Minute Hero, that's a fun game. That's a pretty newish game. Well, newish 2009 is, I guess, not that newish anymore.
2009 is basically yesterday, Mo.
Yeah, basically.
That's true.
And of course, the Wild Guns Reloaded soundtrack. But yeah, a lot of people, of course, know the Stage 3 music, because it's literally Unbreakable Determination from the first Ninja Gaiden game. And in my opinion, this is actually the best rendition of that song. It pops a lot more than the NES version. At least that's my opinion.
I'm sorry, are we going to sit here and not give proper respect to the Ninja Gaiden Trilogy version of Unbreakable Determination?
I have not heard that one.
Oh my goodness. Well, Mo, how do you feel
that
about
might be
Marimba?
The better one.
How do you feel about Marimba? Because let me tell you, yo dog, I heard you liked Marimba, so we put some Marimba in your Marimba. In your Unbreakable Determination. It's so absurd. They made this game for the Super Nintendo, and they were like, what if we took this beloved trilogy with well-known excellent music and completely ruined it? And then they put it out and charged like $80 for it.
Wow.
As you do.
Okay.
They were 21 years old when they did the Ninja Gaiden Shadow OST.
Man.
That is great.
Imagine being so good at your job at that young of an age. Boy, I wish I had talent.
I can't even tell stories publicly what I did when I was 21.
True.
I had a job, and
I
was going
did
to
too.
school. Like, no, my point is, like, I guess there's like 10% of the way there. I wasn't making legendary music for a legendary video game series. That's for sure.
I had a really shitty job, and I went to school for a degree that I don't even use.
There you go.
Yeah, pretty much how it was 10 years ago. Yeah, sounds about correct.
It's kind of what's really interesting about knowing this composer is that typically in-house composers don't ever get acknowledged at all. And what I've talked about with Jace Austin, the developer for Alien 3, is that a lot of times some of the music is even done by the developer themselves too, just because it has to get done in such a short amount of time. So actually seeing the composer for an in-house composer for Natsume and actually seeing all of their work, or at least assumingly all of their work actually credited, is actually super cool and actually really rare to see. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially back in those days where you saw a lot of the code names or the pseudonyms in the credits, and some of which, fortunately, with 30 years of hindsight, we're able to figure out who everyone is. Some people, it's a lot trickier to figure that stuff out. And, I mean, you guys just provided me, a bit of a master's class on this, because I had no idea who the composer was, never paid attention to the credits at the end, to be perfectly honest. But, I mean, you're just rattling off banger soundtrack after banger soundtrack, and that what an eye-opening discovery. That's so great, because like I said, I do really love and appreciate game music from this era and the constraints that they had to work under, and still to be able to put out something like Unbreakable Determination or the Stage 5 song, which I know you're about to get into. Incredible the work that can be done on a platform like the Game Boy, for example.
Yeah, I'll dive back into like the soundtrack of this game in specifically, which is absolutely amazing. It's one of the best soundtracks on Game Boy out there. Not only because they have renditions of songs from other games, like the normal boss music in this game is the same as the same. It's based on the boss music in Ninja Gaiden 1. The final boss track for this game is actually the final boss track of Shadow of the Ninja with a new rendition. Stage 3 music, like I said, is Unbreakable Determination, which is the most known song from Ninja Gaiden. Yep. Absolutely. Stage 5 is the music from Stage 4-1 from Ninja Gaiden 3, Ancient Ship of Doom. But all the other songs are actually original compositions, but they have hints of the songs of the Shadow of the Ninja game, which is really cool. Like, if you listen to the soundtrack of Shadow of the Ninja, you can hear the start and you hear a few notes, and then if you listen to the Game Boy version, you hear those notes, but then it becomes a completely different song, which is absolutely cool. That this composer did get influenced by the music, but also just made its own thing with it, and that's absolutely cool. Besides the new renditions of older songs.
The only song I don't like in this game is the boss music. I don't like the
yeah, that's the Ninja Gaiden boss music.
Do you not like it in Ninja Gaiden, like the proper Ninja Gaiden games? Also,
I don't even like it in Silkworm. So
it was in Silkworm. That's okay.
It's pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, I think. I imagine that some of those callbacks to Ninja Gaiden didn't happen until, obviously, it was under the Tecmo umbrella. I imagine those were somewhat late changes. So I'd actually be curious to know what, if any, music they had in that place in lieu of the Ninja Gaiden songs. I believe there's a standard boss track in Shadow of the Ninja for NES as well, so they probably would have fallen back on there, or some rendition of that. But I can't help but wonder what would have been in place of the Stage 3 and the Stage 5 songs had they kept it as separate from the Tecmo umbrella.
Yeah, would be nice to, of course, contact the composer, but again, we can't contact Japanese people because they don't understand us anyway, so...
They do have a Twitter.
Yeah, we can always try, but I doubt that something will come out of it. But yeah, sometimes if you listen to the soundtracks of these games, there are unused songs, but those are usually songs that are present on the actual ROM of the game. This one doesn't have any unused songs as far as I know, so they probably just scrapped them completely or replaced them.
Yeah, I have no idea. But plot. So the plot to this game is actually kind of interesting in the sense that it's a prequel to Ninja Gaiden. So let me get my plot voice ready here. Prequel to Ninja Gaiden, taking place 3 years before the historic battle with... What the heck is that name? Huakio?
Jackio.
Jackio.
Yeah, like JFK's wife, Jackie O. That's for all your listeners who are in the 60+ demographic.
we have plenty of them.
And also American.
Prequel to Ninja Gaiden, taking place 3 years before the historic battle with Jackio. In 1985, the Emperor Golf Garuda suddenly appeared, and the terrible death and destruction began. People's fear and despair only make me stronger. It's time for all the people in the world to bow down before me. Just when everyone had given up all hope of resisting Golf's overwhelming strength, a lone shadow appeared. His name is Ryu Hayabusa. Yeah, we're going with that. The last of the Dragon Clan. Of course, Ryu had no way of knowing the evil emperor was an underling. Man, reading is really hard this early in the morning. had no way of knowing the evil emperor was an underling of Ryu's arch rival, Jackio, Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh boy. Good reads. Good reads. Amazing.
Long story short, evil bad guy, cool ninja superhero. They do battle. The end. That's
Maru's mission minus the girlfriend.
And I guess some other things are different too. Like this is a video game.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, some people might recognize the name Garuda because that is actually the boss of Shadow of the Ninja. So they just changed him. He's called Golf in the European and American version, but in the Japanese version he's still called Garuda. If you look at the intro for the game, it's basically almost the same intro as the NES game, Shadow of the Ninja. But whereas Gerudo is like an old man in that one, they changed him into like a 30-year-old in this one or something. I don't know. They just made it look more like a Ninja Gaiden villain than a Shadow of the Ninja villain, basically.
You know, you mentioned that intro. That's another reused song. Reused. Perfect. Another song from a Ninja Gaiden game, from Ninja Gaiden 2. That's actually the intro theme from Ninja Gaiden 2 that's in the intro of Ninja Gaiden Shadow, which is just a fire track.
Amazing all these things they used.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you're going to bring it in under the Ninja Gaiden umbrella, you might as well leverage some of the great stuff that makes the series as amazing as it is. And I mean, you know, why not?
Absolutely. And they had already 3 games to pick things from, so.
Yeah.
Sorry, doing music. Alright. Gameplay. So the controls in this game play, I guess, like a Ninja Gaiden game. I don't have a lot of experience in, like, the NES Ninja Gaidens. Like, I've only really ever played the Game Boy and Ninja Gaiden Black for, what was it, Xbox, whatever it was. So...
Oh, man, yeah, that's, I mean, completely different thing altogether.
Yeah. So, like, I've played Ninja Gaiden 1 on NES. I had it growing up. So, like, I'm a little bit more familiar. I'm more familiar with that game than any of the other NESs. But for the most part, the Game Boy one felt pretty similar to that of the NES one, where if you attack, you're standing still, you jump. If you jump attack, you can move forward. The only difference, really, is the grappling hook.
That's a big difference, but I would say it's not the only one because the pacing of the game, first and foremost, is much slower in the Game Boy version. I imagine some of that is just due to hardware constraints, but also to simplify it because you got the smaller screen, you got less fidelity of the visuals as well. So I think probably trying to, if they did endeavor to cram as much stuff in as they have in Ninja Gaiden in terms of the enemies that you have to navigate through, that might be a bit much. So I think it was actually a pretty good change, and it definitely makes the game a lot more inviting as a new player. I believe that Ninja Gaiden Shadow was actually the first Ninja Gaiden game that I really beat. I think that might be true. I certainly grew up with Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden 2 as well, and then came to speedrun those games later. But I certainly I came to speedrun Ninja Gaiden Shadow first of the Ninja Gaiden games that I run. And it does have a different feel to it because it is I would say like more. I mean, if you wanted to like be charitable, you'd say methodical, I guess. But it's a slower pace, and that might sound inherently negative, but it's really not. It's just a different feel to it that you get used to. When you're playing Ninja Gaiden or Ninja Gaiden 2 or Ninja Gaiden 3, I just have less familiarity with that. There's such a rhythm to it, and while that exists in this version, it's definitely a very different rhythm. A much slower one. Yeah, and like you mentioned, the grappling hook. You're just not bouncing off of enemies to navigate in this game in the way. There's a couple 2 and 3 times throughout the game where you do that. If you want to be real cheeky and real fast through the game, but for the most part, it's here's the enemy that's right in front of you, or here's the 2 enemies that are right in front of you. stop and kill one, stop and kill the next one, and you really can't do that in the NES games too often. A little bit more in Ninja Gaiden 2, but Ninja Gaiden 1, stop is death.
Yeah.
Stopping is death in Ninja Gaiden 1. So
yeah, for sure. Like the pacing, like thinking about it now, like the pacing's definitely very different because like in Ninja Gaiden 1, there's no stopping. It's you're holding left or you're holding right and continually hitting the B button to attack. Versus in Ninja Gaiden Shadow, probably prohibited due to hardware restraints, that there aren't all that many enemies in a stage.
Yeah.
Like there's enough to be like, okay, well, there's an enemy, but like it's nothing like the NES version where you're gonna have two birds swooping at you with a cat running behind you and some idiot in a robe throwing crosses at you at the front, right? So like you don't have all that going on in Ninja Gaiden Shadow, so
no, and actually you raise an interesting point because there is a less diverse cast of enemies as well, which is certainly the influence of Natsume on the original development of the game. I'm sure, because everything is more mechanical soldier type feel to it. A lot more are mech type characters in there. And guys walking around with guns, not running around or just walking back and forth shooting triple shots. It definitely has a different appearance and style in terms of the enemies too. But it definitely has a little bit different feel, and I think it works pretty well.
And even like comparing the enemies to the NES version, is even the enemies are very different. Like, you have the soldiers that shoot in Ninja Gaiden on NES, but like some of the soldiers in this game have shields where you can't attack them unless they put their shield down, or some of the enemies you just outright can't kill, or some of them are like from the Batman game where you land on a platform and they speed up 14 times speed and they shoot fire and things like that. Like there's a whole sorts of like different set of enemies that are just very unique to the Ninja Gaiden Shadow game itself.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, one thing that I've always confused me about Ninja Gaiden Shadow, because like I look at games that came out before Ninja Gaiden Shadow, right? You got Super Mario Land 1, I can't think of any more off the top of my head. Fall of the Foot Clan, not Dreamland yet, but you have a few others before then that had multiple power-ups throughout the game, right? Mario Land, you had a mushroom, you had the fire flower, and then you turn into a submarine and a plane and things like that. But in Ninja Gaiden Shadow, you only get what looks like the fire wheel,
right?
But Ninja Gaiden is very well known for its crazy power-ups, like the fire wheel, the shield thing that flips around you, and the spin jump attack thing. Like there's just so many cool like power-ups from the Ninja Gaiden series. It's like, why did they just choose fire wheel? Like, is that something that's catered to Ninja Shadow of the Ninja? Like, is that because I've never played Shadow of the Ninja before.
Absolutely not, because like Shadow of the Ninja has a lot of power-ups you can use or different weapons, and the way that Shadow of the Ninja plays is more like ranged attacks. Like at the start you can only just do a normal swing, I think, but like 1 minute into the game you have this like projectile that comes out of your sword to take down enemies, so that's completely different. And it also has a lot of power-ups throughout the game, like you can throw bombs and throw stars and things like that. So it's definitely not the influence of this being a Shadow of the Ninja game before Ninja Gaiden. So it's just its own thing, and it's kind of weird because the enemies do appear to be more mechanical like in Shadow of the Ninja, but in Shadow of the Ninja in the NES version you actually have to hit them multiple times to kill them, but this one it's just like Ninja Gaiden where you hit them once and they're just gone. So I think it's more because of the limitations of the system, and this was still a pretty early game for Game Boy for starters, so I think it's really just at that point in time they just didn't know they could put so much more into a game. because they probably ran out of space already.
Well, I think as well. I mean, if you compare some of the power-ups from the games you're talking about, they are like, so for example, Super Mario Land, you can get the mushroom and then Mario's sprite grows a little bit, or you can get the fire flower and you can shoot one circle on screen at a time.
One bouncy ball.
So you compare that to what you get with the Art of the Fire Wheel in Ninja Gaiden Shadow, and it's demonstrably different. It looks like the fire. In fact, in some ways, you could argue it looks better than the Fire Wheel from the NES games because it takes up such a big swath of the screen. Which I know, I mean, it's a smaller screen, but still, it's really well designed for the Game Boy. And obviously Spin Slash they probably could have made work. Although I think by that point they realized Spin Slash was way too OP because they took it out in Ninja Gaiden 2 as well. And I guess the Art of the Invincible Fire Wheel that you had mentioned before, that would maybe feel a little bit redundant. But the Art of the Fire Wheel is such a versatile weapon anyway throughout the series. It's definitely a good, if not the good primary, then definitely a good fallback in case you don't have the primary sub-weapon that you'd like. So I think that if they're only going to choose one, they nailed it. A lot of people would say like, oh, why not a shuriken? Why not the windmill shuriken? Nope. The Art of the Fire Wheel was the way to go. And I think, like I said, they made it look pretty cool. So if they had to scale it back, or if they just chose to scale back the Ninpo options in there, I think they made the right choice.
We could chalk it up to, since this being a prequel, Ryu didn't have the skill points to learn the other stuff yet.
Yeah, that's right. He was a burgeoning ninja. He had not yet completed his training. So he was just a guy who played with fire at that point, really, and wore a mask.
I had to relook up games that came out in '91. So we had Metroid 2, Belmont's Revenge, Mega Man 1, Operation C, Battletoads, Mega Man 2 apparently. Back from the sewers, not back to the sewers. They should go back to the sewers, to be fair. Avenging Spirit, Fortified Zone. Like, 91 was filled with some pretty baller games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, 91.
That was a good year for a Game Boy, absolutely.
Yeah. Good job, 1991. Yeah. I knew you had it in you. So before we move on to go over the controls for those that have never played a Ninja Gaiden game before in their life, A jumps, B attacks, down ducks. In this game, up A is your grappling hook. You'll use it fairly often in the later stages and during boss fights, which we'll get to in a minute. Down A lets you drop from platforms and hang, which I know you can't do that in 1, can you? But can you do that in Ninja Gaiden 2 or 3? I've never played 2 or 3, so...
I should really know the answer to that, especially for 2. Certainly in 3 you can, because that's a lot of the navigation through some of those stages is getting up onto a platform, dropping down before you get clobbered by something. In Ninja Gaiden 2, no, you don't do that in Ninja Gaiden 2. You just basically get knocked around by enemies to navigate to where you want to get to. At least the way I play it. Which sounds like I'm incompetent, but I'm actually halfway decent at that game. So that's just part of the fun of doing speedrun nonsense.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like a lot of people say this plays more similar to Shadow of the Ninja game, but I feel like that's not true at all. After playing the game myself, like I mentioned, like you need to do multiple hits on enemies and things like that, and you have more of a ranged attack in that game than like in Ninja Gaiden, where you usually just use your sword for most of the things plus your power-ups. But a lot of people also say, oh, but the grappling hook, yeah, but Shadow of the Ninja doesn't have a grappling hook. Right. This is like actually something made for this game, probably due to the fact that they couldn't program in the wall climbing of Ninja Gaiden. Why weren't they able to do that? Probably because the screens are not really designed to do wall climbing in this game at all. It's also a very hard thing to actually put into a game at this point in 91. That's like the second year of third year of Game Boy.
Third
So
year.
yeah, so it was definitely harder to do. So yeah, you still need a way to get up things. There are no ladders in this game, so yeah, why not just go with a grappling hook? And I think it works really well for a thing like this.
And I mean, to be fair, the screen is small. Like, let's look at games like Batman, for example. Those really tight corridors that you have to jump wall to wall on. Y'all hate them. I don't say that you don't. I know y'all do. I hate them. I hated them when I was a kid. I still hate them as a 33-year-old adult. Now, to say, like, I wouldn't have minded that on the game. Well, you would have. All right, you would have been mad. Then this game would have gotten poor reviews, and we would never have had a podcast episode about it. So I don't want to hear any complaints at all. And then the up B is the fire wheel that we just talked about, and you have to have the
Ninpo is the magic
Ninpo.
that you have,
the little the character, the stuff, the power up meter that's not really a meter. You can have up to 5 Ninpo, so you can shoot up to 5 fire wheels. If you don't have any Ninpo, then you just look like an idiot. So stages. Stage 1, ruined city or some construction site. I like some construction site better. Stage 1's your run-of-the-mill, hold right, kill enemies. Basically your tutorial stage of how to use your little sword thing, how to use your grappling hook, because you do need it within the first screen. And just a little bit of what's to be thrown at you. I call this the Metal Gear stage. Because, like, you have the things that shoot rockets, then you have the weird mechanical mech thing at the end, which apparently is called a spider. I called it Metal Gear. I don't know. There's really not much to say about this stage at all. It's just hey, here's some stuff. This is how to use it. Good luck.
Spider kind of looks like Cyber Ninja Gray Fox a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Except when he's, crawling around like a spider.
He has 8 legs.
No, but no. I mean, you work with the body parts that you're given. Don't let your dreams be memes, EBC.
That's too late.
That's interesting. Because I'd mentioned it. It's more mech-like in the terms of the enemies, but it never occurred to me that it was like the Metal Gear stage. But that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, my splits call this Metal Gear.
Metal Gear,
nano machines.
Yeah, you knew.
I'll save you this time, Snake. 2 minutes later, on the guy named Helicopter dying. Good job, Raiden. You're useless. You're useless, and your standalone game sucks. All right, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that from the Twitter community.
Yeah, I like that game actually.
Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of flack from you then.
EBC having a polarizing opinion on a video game. I can't believe it.
Weird. I know. Strange. Oh my god, ABC has bad opinions. Weird. So stage 1, boss spider. This thing kind of just walks back and forth. It'll go to the top of the screen or the ceiling and kind of dive down, either straight down or at an angle. I kind of don't understand what determines how it dives down, but once it's down, you throw some fire wheels at it and hit it with your knife until it explodes.
As far as I could ever determine, it was random.
That's what I always thought, too.
I would always try to kind of hang out underneath of him to try to encourage him to drop straight down, but it never really worked out as desired. But it seemed to be random, and ideally you get him in the corner and Mike Tyson them back and forth for a while, and until he shoots back up in the air. And I actually have a question about the bosses for you all the bosses until the final one, because that's completely different. Do you know for sure how many hits each boss takes? Because I swear it changes.
I used to know because Proto Magical Girl used to run this game, and her and I used to talk about this game pretty religiously. And she would always say how many hits, and she would count them too while running. And I honestly, it's been 4 years since I've ran this game, so I straight up just don't even remember anymore.
So I'll do the same thing. I'll count the hits, and one time I'll get like 32, and which I believe the number is 32, by the way. Other times I'll get to 30, and the fight will be over. And then other times I'll go to 33, and I'm like, okay. So a couple of things could be possible here. Could
maybe
be
you're double hitting with Fire Wheel and don't even know it.
Well, sure, that can certainly happen. Yeah, absolutely, and that's something we didn't talk about. But yeah, the Fire Wheel can get double hits on bosses, which is pretty cool. You have to, I guess, shoot it in just the right way. And that's actually very useful for the final boss, actually. But I think maybe it doesn't feel like there's iframes, but you're getting in there and slashing, and you're jumping up in the air, and you're mashing the B button as much as possible, trying to get as many hits in as you can. And I'm guessing some of those are not getting through, like maybe one, if I'm getting 33 over 32. But I think it's 32. I think 32 hits per boss until the final boss. But I figured you guys had so much other information that maybe I would get closure on this, but sadly it was not to be. But I think it's 32. I think it's actually 32, and all the variants that I feel is me not paying close enough attention.
I know there's like 68 hits on the first boss of Roland's Curse.
Oh, well.
that helps.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now I'll know that whenever I play the boss fights in Ninja Gaiden Shadow. Like, but Roland's Curse, 68 hits. So no matter what happens here, we know that.
The only reason I know that is because I run the glitched category, and you have to die on the same frame that you kill the boss. So I always have to count how many hits I've done to the boss.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's a set
It's
of
in
hits.
the 30s, yeah. It's still... See, this is the problem with not having a... is there a boss health bar in this game? I don't know.
No. Obviously not.
That's always... Well, the boss health bars can lie.
Sure, that's true. But
I've played some choice games like that, but like that's this is always my biggest pet peeve with any retro game, Game Boy, NES, even in newer games. Put a damn boss health bar on the screen.
Even if it's not a bar per se, some sort of positive feedback to the player, whether it's indicator. Like they start smoking, or like their body changes a little bit, or like, the color were to change, something along those lines. But no, the only health meter that there is for Ryu, and when it gets down to one left, then you get the Zelda low beep warning, which is always appreciated in every video game. Definitely doesn't raise anxiety levels whatsoever. So, you want to avoid that.
Always.
But that's the only health bar in the game. Otherwise, you just gotta keep whacking on the boss until they start exploding.
To be fair, I do appreciate an annoying beeping sound more than any of like newer video games where your screen gets screwed over. The more damage you take, because like, what do you want if you're on low health? You want to be able to clearly see what you're doing, so you would not take any more damage. What do new games do? Let's make it even less visible what you're doing when you're hurt, so you certainly will get hurt even more. Thank you, video game designers. Stop doing that.
I'm gonna go off on a tangent on that real quick. So this is a little bit of a spoiler, just a small one. Ghost of Tsushima, I'm trying to climb this mountain to get a shrine, right, to 100% the game. And when you climb this mountain, you have to go to like these campfires to warm up, otherwise you freeze to death. Well, when you're starting to freeze, your screen gets covered by frost. What is the one thing that you can't see when your screen is covered by frost? The goddamn campfire. Knock it off. God,
I hate that in game design. I absolutely it's disgusting.
Drives me insane. Or like the pulsing, like it's one thing to like just have the screen covered. It's when it pulses as well too. Like some horror games, it will just pulse. You're like, I can see. I can't see. I can't see. It's like, can you just pick something already? Like, come on. Okay, I'm done with that tangent.
No, you're right though. there are design tropes, and then there is better ways to use those tropes. You don't have to implement an annoying beep. If you wanted to do a beep, it could be, a chime that says, "Hey, low health indicator." It doesn't literally say that in like words. That would be weird.
It should.
That's we'll put that in some game now. It's just like some deadpan, "Hey, low health indicator," which actually would be way less annoying than a constant high pitched beep over and over again, or like, "Oh, hey, now your screen is like real shaky, and all the corners are opaque, and your field of view is really narrow, and also your controller's rumbling," which, like, I don't have to worry. That's why I play old games. I don't have to worry about any of that foolishness. Like, "Oh, my controller's rumbling because I've been playing it too hard." Like, what? Get out of here. Like, I just want to play the game. I don't need, like, this extra nonsense. "Oh, I'm breathing, so my controller's breathing." It's simulated. Okay, whatever. Who cares?
We get a new Ocarina at a time, and Navi's like, "Hey, listen," and you press the up C button, and it goes, "Your health is low."
It'd be way better than. Like, "Oh God, I get it. I know I'm dying. Okay, I suck. I got it. Right. Thank you."
So there's another side to this too. When I was playing Dr. Franken, when you're low health, you blink. What does every retro game, when your character is blinking in games from the 80s and early 90s, what does blinking mean?
Usually it means you're invulnerable.
Exactly. But you know what that doesn't mean in Dr. Franken?
That you're invulnerable.
That means you're about to die. Yeah. So, like, I even asked Mo that. I'm like, "Mo, why am I blinking?" "Oh, I don't know." "Am I invulnerable?" "Oh, I don't know." Okay, well, on this episode of This Is Game Boy, no one knows anything about this game. So.
In Dr. Franken 2, in Dr. Franken 2, that's actually true, because if you pick up the shield, you start blinking and you're invulnerable. So there we go.
Okay, that's just bad game design. That's just real stupid. That's all. I understand there's limitations, to what you can do, but I mean, let's have the same thing mean you're about to die and you can't die. Like, what?
So good. Dr. Franken's such a good game, and everyone is encouraged to play it.
No, it sounds amazing.
The idea is good. Stage 2 Factory. Is this the one where you have to stand on the conveyor belts and hope that you don't get shot in the face? Or
it might be true.
You don't have to hope. You can set it up properly. But yeah, that's just, you're right. They're thinking of the right stage. There is one part where you definitely are most likely going to get shot. This stage also introduces the flying enemies, or the first of the flying enemies. Technically, there are more. But the closest thing to a bird that exists in this game, which is very similar to the little flying helicopter-like enemies that you have in Fall of the Foot Clan that you had mentioned earlier.
Right.
They behave differently. They actually kind of swoop down in like a slower version of the birds in Ninja Gaiden.
That's right.
But you're just because Ninja Gaiden is so well known for the birds are jerks trope. Speaking of tropes in video games, birds are jerks throughout, but nowhere are they more jerky, I think, than in Ninja Gaiden 1 in particular for NES. So you have a little bit of that there, and then you have the flamethrower enemies that pop up as well as you make your way onto those conveyor belts. So yeah, you get a lot of new fun enemies to deal with in that stage.
Yeah, that's right. And then we face off against Duke Nukem and Mini Duke Nukem.
Oh wait, also you get the shielders in that stage, which are just a joy. So you'd mentioned them earlier too, and you can actually manipulate them. You can do a little tiny pause right before you get to them, and I guess that's enough to make them think, "Hey, you're looking the other way," because that's the idea behind it. If you're just playing through, you get up to them, they hold their shield up, and you have a staring contest, and then you realize, "I'm going to turn away," and as soon as you look away, they drop their shield, and then you attack them, and that's it. So you can just do a little stutter step coming up to them, which becomes trickier when you fight 2 and 3 of them at one time, and get right past them. So that's pretty neat. And then you get to your boy that you were just talking about.
Then you get to fight Duke Nukem and Duke Nukem Jr.
I always like the chat call them twins because it's Arnold and Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
it
how
is,
I
I
call
guess.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never thought of that. Yeah. But this fight is easy but annoying at the same time. Like Danny DeVito will grab a hold of your leg and slow you down.
Yeah.
And Arnold's trying to kick you and uppercut you. Basically, like Arnold comes from the right side of the screen, and you basically just sit there and just cut him until he's dead. And you just run back and forth between the platforms, trying not to get uppercut and kicked, while Danny DeVito is trying to grab a hold of you. It's a very simple fight, though.
Yeah, very simple. The scary part is, Danny Vito come down, grab you, and you're trying to move away. You're in kicking range, so you're getting worked over like that. And then Arnold does the big charge. And that's you see that freight train coming, especially if that health starts to get a little bit low. That's when you start making mistakes, because this fight is really all about waiting for you to screw up. Because if you stay high, I don't know that Arnold can do anything up there. Like there are two of the platforms that you can climb up onto. I'm pretty sure Arnold just stays on the ground, so you won't win the fight, but you won't lose it either. So you can kind of take a moment, collect yourself.
You can still take damage on the platform because his hand in the uppercut can go through the platform.
Yeah. But you can still avoid him pretty easily, because I believe you can jump between those two platforms, even though they're pretty spaced out. I think you can. I could be completely wrong about that, actually. You either can or can't. Those are the two options. But yeah, but that fight, like you mentioned, is actually really easy in concept, because all you have to do, you once you know that he's got so many steps before he's going to charge, and that you have what the timing is between his kicks, you can get in there and your sword can outreach his kick if you set up just so. So a little bit of foreknowledge, as we see like in every game basically, but a little bit of foreknowledge goes a long way, especially with that fight, because the whole point is to intimidate you into making mistakes. And if you just stand tall and just stay a little bit outside of his zone, you'll absolutely destroy Arnold. And that's it. You can't do any damage to Danny DeVito. He's just bebopping around like a flea man in Castlevania, trying to jump on you and slow you down from moving away. And as long as you don't get worked up over that, and stay, get 2 or 3 hits in between the kicks, you're good to go. You might get charged once, but as long as your health isn't super low, no problem.
Yeah, we don't want to do damage to Danny either, because he's in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and that's an amazing show. So
It is pretty amazing.
So before I go on to stage 3, the cutscenes at the end of the fights when Ryu literally just cuts them in half and then they just like disappear is amazing. But then you go into stage 3, which apparently is just another piece of the factory. This is where you get introduced to the bomb boys, where you have these moving platforms on the ceiling and floors that like kind of just shoot bombs, and they kind of just go up and down. And then they explode, and the explosion, obviously, if you touch the explosion, you take damage. And then you have, like, these fire wheels as well, too. If you could think of, like, kind of like Mario Brothers, where, like, you have the fire wheels in the dungeon stages. It's kind of like that, where the fire just kind of resonates in a circle, and you have to avoid it. But this stage is a lot of platforming. You're also introduced to the vertical scrolling platforms, again similar to that of every other platforming game known to man, where if you don't time your jump, you are not going to make it to the next platform. But a cool caveat with this game is, if you can't make it to the platform, you can still grab the bottom of the platform and pull your way up most of the time. So
as long as it's not going up off the screen, you're good to go to adjust yourself and save yourself. And if you are that high on the screen, chances are you're probably going to be able to fall to the next platform over as well, or back if you wanted to go backwards. In most cases, I think.
This stage does offer a trap, however. So once you get towards the end of this stage, you're going to be introduced to a couple of globes. One of them is a 1-up, and the other one's a NME or a full health at the end.
Yeah.
The one in the middle is a 1-up. However, you can't stop to get it because you're going to get crushed by the falling ceiling. So as soon as you make the trigger point of the falling ceiling, you're basically your only hope is to hold right, because if you stop at all, you're going to die. It's that close of a timing with this low ending piece here. So it's a little bit of a trap. It's like, hey, you can get a 1-up, but you're going to die. So.
I swear that I've seen someone collect that one up successly without dying.
I have
possible.
seen it, but it's
I can't do it.
I can't do it either.
And just a note on the health. Actually, it's not a full health refill. So you have 6 bars of health. You have 6 little squares of health for your health bar, Rue, and it fills 5 of them. So it's no, wait, it fills 4 of them. Sorry, it fills 4
of them. Yeah.
Obviously, 5 would basically be the same amount as a full health. No, it fills 4. So if you have 1 left, it'll give you 4, and you'll still be down 1 health, which is a very on-brand thing for Ninja Gaiden to not give you too much of an advantage. But it's also kind of annoying because there are also small health refills that I think give you 2 health each.
Yeah.
So it's just like weird. They didn't want to commit all the way. We're not going to give you full health. We're going to give you close to full health.
What is on brand with this game in a way is that right before a boss fight, the game does give you health. Whether or not you need it, it does give you health.
Yeah, it is usually pretty good about that. And yeah, I'm trying to think back through. Yeah, you usually don't get that in there are usually health pickups in different acts of the Ninja Gaiden NES games, but not necessarily right in front of the boss. Ninja Gaiden 2 famously has one right before the final boss rush, but I don't think that's the case in Ninja Gaiden. Well, it's pretty close in Ninja Gaiden 1. It's a little bit earlier on the screen, so I guess you could argue that. Although, God bless you if you're trying to get through that enemy rush after you get the health, because it can get pretty brutal. And I have no idea about Ninja Gaiden 3. So yeah, it's right before the boss. Before, no more enemies. Just here, pick up the health, and now go do the boss fight. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah. And then once you get past the falling ceiling, you get to face off against M. Bison. So
yeah, which is a callback to the Shatterhand first boss. If you've ever played that game, straight up the same exact boss with the gun, looking like M. Bison. The only difference is that in Shatterhand, that the boss will jump up onto the walls and attack you from there, try to avoid being attacked by you. So obviously it's somewhat more straightforward in this game. He just walks back and forth and sometimes shoots.
Yeah, like if you're up on the ceiling, he looks around and then will aim his gun to the ceiling, shoot at you, then you just drop down, attack, rinse and repeat basically. All these fights are simple up until the final boss, basically. But
I think this one is the hardest boss of the game, in my opinion. Yeah,
I understand why you might say that, Mo.
Yeah, it's just a weird pattern that he has that you sometimes just can't react in time. But yeah, if you know the speedrun a little bit, this is a pretty easy fight as well. But otherwise, from a casual point of view, the first time playing this might give you some trouble, actually, this boss.
Yeah.
I found Floating Elvis to be the hardest, but yeah, I can see that, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can understand that too. And any of those 3. The problem with the Bison boss is that he'll start going in one direction, and you'll start attacking him, maybe, if you're so inclined. And you might be behind him, and then on a dime, he'll stop and turn around, so he's effectively on top of you. And then you're like, oh, I need to make a move. And he'll change direction too, so he kind of stays on top of you. And he doesn't take contact damage. No. Only you take contact damage. So that can really jam you up. And then if you do get some of that space, if he starts to shoot straight away, then you're just not making any headway, because that gunfire will it'll either keep you back far enough where you're not doing damage, or it'll damage you while you're trying to get in to do damage. So either way, it can get to be tough stuff.
I would like to know what kind of gun he has, because he never has to reload.
He has a video game gun, EBC. That's what type of gun he has. Are we seriously gonna go over every gun in video games for the accuracy of its ammunition? Because I don't think that's gonna work out so great.
Look, I had to reload. What game was I playing? Oh, Hades. I was playing Hades. I have to reload a gun in hell. I mean, come on.
Listen, Satan believes in gun control, all right? So responsible magazine sizes only, okay?
I have to reload a Metal Gear.
Well, yeah, but but Kojima is a crazy gun nut, and that is like obsessive with accuracy in that stuff. The further it went in the series, so So yeah, you have to reload in Metal Gear. But even if you're talking about Metal Gear Solid 1, or I mean, I don't know, do you have to get ammo again in Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, like the MSX games or even the NES games? I don't even know. But for Metal Gear Solid, even that, I mean, yeah, you had to reload, but it was pretty simple, compared to how it ended up getting.
The worst.
Anyway, I like Metal Gear 2, guys, so we can go down that road, but I think that may be a bit much.
Doing a Metal Gear podcast would take like...
Oh my god, it was
5 years.
66.
Yeah.
In this podcast, we explain what's going on in Metal Gear Solid 2, and it's just a bunch of white noise for 2 hours. Because who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
The Patriots. That's all I got. And I need Scissor 61. Yep.
Live and die laughing. All right. So we have our next. What stage we're on? 4.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
We're on the docks, the harbor. So right away, like before we get into the nitty gritty of the stage, I wanted to shout out the background of this stage because it has it's like you're underwater. Like you're in a building underwater because the background is moving in a wave fashion, and like there's like an aquatic theme to the windows in the background. Yeah. I always thought that was super, super cool, especially in a Game Boy.
It's got to be really impressive for a 1991 Game Boy game, especially, right?
Yeah,
probably, but I don't know how they do it, but there are a lot of Game Boy games that do the underwater effect with the wavy lines, like, perfectly. I don't know if the Game Boy was especially designed to do that effect or something, but every time I see it in other games, like Hammering Harry has it, for example, they just do such a good job with that underwater effect. It's amazing.
Maybe it's because it's such a small screen they don't have to worry about real estate. I don't know. But I've always been amazed at the background. Like, all jokes aside, like Ninja Gaiden Shadow to me is kind of... It's a game. But, like, a lot of just the, like, features of functionality and just the development of the game, for it being an early Game Boy game, is outstanding. And that's what always has pulled me into this game, so... But yeah, the first thing right away, the first enemies you encounter are these stupid flies with propellers that you just can't hit at all. They're obnoxious. Their pattern is to like seek you, but not like directly seek you. So like sometimes they'll be just in a part where like they're out of the way where you can't hit them, and sometimes they'll just be like close to you where as soon as you like turn around to hit them, you hit them and take damage. They're obnoxious. Then you have the shuriken guys that throws a shuriken, then like somehow defies gravity, flips upside down, stands on the ceiling, and throws a fan of shurikens at you.
I mean, well, they're ninjas, so yeah, they can defy gravity.
Okay,
that stands up to scrutiny.
Okay, why can't Ryu stand upside down on the ceiling?
Again, he is a neophyte ninja. All he's got is the mask and a love of fire at this point, and a grappling hook, I guess. So yeah.
Why can't he do it in the other Ninja Gaidens?
Well, at that point, he developed spin slash technology and like ninja clone technology. So he's like, later for all that gravity nonsense, who cares?
The cloning power up is super cool. I do like the ninja clone.
The ninja friends are awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, once you get past this stage, you go into like, I call it the sewers, because as you enter the stage, the ceiling starts dripping. We could assume water since it is like the docks, but I always call it sewage because it hurts you. Maybe Ryu's allergic to water. I don't know. But you kind of go through. You have to dodge the little drippy boys, and then you have some shield boys you got to avoid as well too, or kill rather. You can't really avoid enemies in this game. Then you have some more shuriken defying gravity ninjas.
I think you can avoid the shield guys, at least most of them, in that stage because you have a series of platforms that you can jump up underneath of and get on top of. So you could effectively go over top of most of the shield guys, not all of them, but a fair portion of them.
in a piece of the stage, yeah, where it turns completely dark, which
Yeah.
is fantastic to begin with.
Well, that's where the shield guys start showing up in this stage.
Well, there's one right away
Yeah.
in the second screen, and then
Right.
then you have all the shield guys, which is fine, but it's completely dark, and the only time you can see platforms is when the lightning strikes because video game logic.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like these laser guns that are coming from the top and bottom, and you have to either be on the top or bottom of the platform to not get hit by them, all while trying to avoid the shield guys or kill the shield guys. So you have to somehow turn around underneath the platform, wait for them to lower their shield, kill the shield guy, wait for the laser, move forward.
Yeah, the lasers are junk. If you know, because you can stand on top of the platform or underneath the platform, like you mentioned, to avoid, you know, from whatever the opposite side the laser's coming from. Except if you're near the edge of the platform, that laser will still come through for a few pixels on either side. So you know, you're traveling from left to right. You're like, okay, I know there's a couple more pixels of this platform. It's cool. The laser's coming from up top. I'm just gonna sit here and wait. Well, if you're close to the edge, guess what? You're still getting zapped. So you gotta reel it back in a little bit because, you know, and you have the darkness that you're dealing with in most cases. So yeah, you got to be careful there if you want to avoid taking damage.
And then and then once you get through that, you get the gotcha moment where like, I'm gonna run across this bridge. Oh no, the other side closed. I'm falling. Which is all fine and dandy, but when you get to the bottom, they give you 3 jars to go pick up. 2 of them are 2 health potions, and the other one is Nimpo. Why not just put 2 jars there? One with Nimpo, one with a big health potion, because it's still just 4 hit points that you're restoring.
It does boggle the mind, the choice there. I don't know.
Why? Like, it makes no sense. Game design. And then once you go through there, you get to traverse. I call it the underground section because it's just rocks. But this is a section where you get I believe chased by I call it lava.
Yeah,
but
so do I.
This is the part where you get chased by water, and you have to go through a vertical climbing segment. And all through the while, like some of these platforms have like these like tasers on them that move horizontally across them. Mm-hmm. If you touch one of those tasers, you get frozen in place. All the while, you have these Mega Man 1 mover things going horizontally across the platform as well too that shoot fire vertically if you kill them. The lava does move slow enough, but if you really don't know what you're doing or really don't know like the obstacles ahead, like it can pose a little bit of a problem coming because you're like, oh, there comes the lava. Oh, I just died because I got shocked on a taser and I couldn't move for 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, the surest way to lose time is to go traversing left to right, which you may be inclined to do because straight away at the start there's Ninpo. Right before you start your climb. Up closer to the top, there's both full health refill and a 1-up. So if you're kind of dawdling around and you want to go get that stuff, you know, you might find yourself right up against it. But also, you mentioned the little shocker guys, those little electrical currents, I guess, that run back and forth. The cool thing about them, I mean, yeah, they'll slow you down too, and they can get you jammed up if you're not sure how to traverse the area. But they don't do any damage. Which, again, being off-brand for Ninja Gaiden, like something that doesn't do damage, it just slows you down, like, amazing. That is very kind of them to put that in place.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, for the, like, in terms of, like, damage taken while climbing this, the damage taken is actually pretty low. You're probably going to take 1 guaranteed hit by the stupid laser in the little tiny hallway.
Yeah. It is very common.
Because terrible placement. But, I mean, for the most part, like, you're not going to take... You unless you're going in there with 1 or 2 hit points, you're probably not going to die in the vertical thing by pure damage itself. You're more likely to die by the water, lava, toxic sludge, whatever it is that's rising up. And then once you get past that, you get to fight against Floating Elvis, which... The reason that it's the dock stage or the harbor stage is because the background has a picture of a ship, cargo ship with some boxes. That's probably why we can assume it's a harbor. But then you have Floating Elvis, who floats down from the top of the screen in some MC Hammer pants, some shoulder pads, and kind of just like floats around the top like Kracko does in Kirby Stream Land 1. Comes down with a fan and like throws it at you like a boomerang, and it goes from top to bottom, so you just duck, keep swinging, jump, keep swinging, and dodge them, and then after a while he'll start throwing shurikens straight down in a fanning motion where you can just kind of stand between them. This was actually, in my opinion, this was the first fight I had the most issue with, because I would get him close to the edge, and I would lose track of the fan and just get owned.
Yeah, I understand that, because the fan, that's when he throws it, that gives you your best opportunity to do a lot of damage in one shot. So either he throws the fan and you're trying to jump over it, and if you're a little bit further away, that fan's going to arc right back. It's going to boomerang right back as soon as you're making your jump over the fan. And if you're close, it's real easy to get caught up in attacking, and then, okay, I need to jump now, and you like the cadence is just a little bit off, and then you end up getting bopped by the fan. But I mean, this fight is the bane of the speedrun right here. This is the RNG reset point of the run, because this guy, he can either swoop right away, or he can swoop somewhere between immediately and infinite amount of time later. And obviously you can attack him when he's up high if you want to burn all your ninpo, but that's not very efficient, because you're only going to do at most 2 damage per attack, and then you're going to burn your ninpo for the rest of the game. And we have strategies for using that throughout the rest of the game as well. But you really want him to come down low so you can get the 6 to 8 hits on before he starts going back up when he shoots his fan. You want that attack time. So he'll meander around, flying gingerly up in the air, and you just say, "Get down here and die!" And then maybe he'll swoop down, and then he'll go back up, and it'll just be bopping back and forth, not swooping, but like just meandering back and forth up in the sky. And then you're like, okay, he's good. Oh, hey, stop! He's gonna swoop down. No, not swooping this time. Throwing those shurikens, throwing 4 or 5 shurikens, however many it is. So now you got to dodge that, which is not difficult, but that's still time taken away. And then by that point, your splits are in the red, your run's over, and you're just cursing up a storm because you've made it to the penultimate stage with nothing to show for it, because this jerk decided, oh, it's all about me. Go hammer, go hammer, go hammer. Like, come on, dude. I'm trying to do a speed run here. Like, what are we doing?
Well, the other crazy thing too is that the fan, like we said, boomerangs, but like it's not like the typical like boss boomerang that goes across the entire screen. No, this thing goes like 2 feet and then it comes back. And it's like, oh, all right, so that's cool and all. Yeah,
so it can. I think that makes it more difficult too. It jams you up because you got to get in there, get your hits in, and then you got to be jumping sooner than you would expect. And if you're a little late to get in there or a little late to jump out, you're getting dinged up.
Yeah, that was, I want to say it killed the game for me, but that was for me one of the harder bosses to get past, just because the cadence can get really weird. So now we move on to the final stage. This final stage is probably my favorite stage, not because of the music, but just purely because of level design. Like, this stage made it feel like a Ninja Gaiden game, because there is a lot happening and there is a lot of damage to be had in this stage. You're running around on a platform already, and you're greeted with this Metal Gear that is a flamethrower. That doesn't really give you much of an opening to go into attack, and then you have these grenade throwers perched on these little platforms that are throwing grenades at you. And then you have like these UFO things that are shooting bullets in between the pits. Sometimes all 3 are kind of stacked together. So now like we went from a fairly slow-paced ninja game to friggin' Ninja Gaiden now. Like these screens are littered with enemies now, and the music is banging. Like, everything it feels like a Ninja Gaiden game. The music's fast, the attacking is fast, everything is super quick now all of a sudden. Like, the tempo has picked up.
Yeah, the tempo and the intensity, because, I never really thought of it in those terms, but now that you mention it, this is definitely the most akin to a traditional Ninja Gaiden stage because straight away you've got these enemies that are shooting fire out, dropping from the sky, shooting bullets down in different directions. And that's just the first screen of the stage.
Yeah.
Then you have to do your traversal down through the stage. You got those shielders again, flames getting shot out from
lasers.
Yeah,
laser
lasers.
guns,
I mean, like it is all go all the time until you get to that auto scroller at the end. So I mean, they really say, okay, you're on the final stage of a Ninja Gaiden game. Now X gonna give it to you. So here we go.
Well, and even like the auto scroller at the end of the stage that you just mentioned is just an elevator. You stand on a platform that you can drop down and hang from or stand on top of, and your only enemies are these laser guns that shoot from the sides. But like you're moving vertically and the laser guns are shooting horizontally. So if you've never done the elevator before, you're going to take a lot of hits. Because there are times where you're like, oh, I should duck here because the laser's going to go on top of the platform. Well, the platform is moving slightly faster than it kind of appears, so you're going to take a hit, or you're going to jump up too early and get hit by the tail end of the laser. Like, you are guaranteed, if you've never been through this elevator, or if you're playing it casually, you're guaranteed to take damage in this elevator auto-scroller segment. Luckily, there is health and ninpo along the sides that you have to jump off your platform and get, and then jump back onto your platform. But the lasers can be deceiving while trying to figure out if you need to hang or stay on top of the platform. So even then, you're still not safe in the auto scroller.
Yeah, you can destroy these lasers if you can reach them or if you use an Ninpo, but you do want to conserve your Ninpo for the last boss anyways.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, if you have if you have some troubles with the lasers, you could potentially destroy them, but I think only when they're open, so you do still risk getting damaged anyways.
And you can't damage them on the auto-scroller because there's no platform to get to them. So you'd have to Ninpo them.
Ugh. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. And then you get to the phase 1 of the final boss, which is Rita from Power Rangers. Where they start at the top and then they're patterned. I don't fully understand this boss either. They move around and they have a. If you've ever played a Trick on Your Friends with Windows, and you have the mouse tail, you have these 14,000 little mouse tails while you're moving your mouse. Think of it like that with Rita floating around the screen. Every once in a while, it'll come down to the ground and you'll get a chance to strike her or him or whomever it is. But they're shooting lightning as well, too. And I believe the lightning it goes to Rya's last known position, or is it random?
It tracks to Ryu, so you have so you can kind of get outside of its zone, and that's really what you want to do. But there are times where the screen position or the enemy will be positioned on the screen in such a way where you have to make a decision when you want to go left or right, and how do you want to time it, and that's where you can get jammed up a little bit, and that can be real annoying. But yeah, like you said, you got to wait for it to swoop down after, I believe it's 5 lightning strikes, either 4 or 5 per cycle, and then the boss will swoop down, and you have to get 30 hits. It is 30 on this phase to get it to switch over to the next phase. So that's at least 2 cycles. You're just not getting more than maybe 18 hits per cycle. Between your sword and your ninpos. So yeah, you got to be real quick with your attacking to speed that part up.
Yeah, and this person doesn't stay down for long. As soon as its big toenail touches the ground, it's going back up again.
Pretty much.
It's not like floating Elvis where he comes to the ground and sits there for a couple seconds and goes back up. It's a half second and then they're going back up again. So once you've defeated Rita, Rita then turns into the Green Power Ranger.
See, I always thought to belabor the metaphor of Power Rangers. I always thought it was when they would send what was the gold guy's name in Power Rangers? The main henchman.
Oh yeah,
Goldar or something like that.
Goldar, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so she'd send him down at first, and he'd go with the putties and bang it up, and he'd get worked over. And then she would like make him real big, and then they'd have to get in the Megazord to fight him. You know, so I always look at it like that. Like, this is like Megazord time now. So it's like this, yeah, make my monsters grow, and then then it would be the big version of that, and then
throws her staff in the middle of the desert and magically grows it somewhere across the world. Yeah.
So that's how I always looked at it. But I mean, Green Power Ranger kind of fits in with that too. Although, I mean, like, Tommy was never that big. Fun fact: I actually saw that dude, Jason David Frank, in actually it was technically amateur mixed martial arts fight that I covered. That was
really?
that was real weird. I knew he was into mixed martial arts, but like, I grew up watching Power Rangers, man. Like, so to see this dude, like, I believe he won with a triangle choke. So it's like, this is a weird, and he didn't even come out to the Power Rangers theme. Like, what a missed opportunity. Like, I get it, you want to divest yourself from like the childhood nonsense, but come on, man. Like, you're the Green Ranger. Sorry.
No, he doesn't. He still joins Power Ranger shows. Like, he still makes cameos.
Well, then I don't know what his problem was. I don't know, man. He came out to like some generic lame song. Like, I couldn't even tell you what it was.
He did play his dragon flute, is what you're saying?
No. Like, okay, first of all, the Power Rangers song is a banger. Like, that is a great all-time 90s TV show theme, all right?
I will agree with that.
So, like, I don't know, like, that's a hype song anyway, so he comes out to, like, generic, like, lame metal. Like, okay, cool, whatever. I mean, he won, so I guess it's fine. Anyway, sorry. Like, how often do you get to talk about that fight you saw with the Green Power Ranger in real life? You know,
a real life fight.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah,
not just some fake
not some video game fight at the end of Ninja Gaiden Shadow. To bring this all back to the actual thing. And
this good.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh,
for me, actually, the final form actually looks like one of the villains from, and nobody's gonna know this because this show is like from the 70s, but it's actually looks like one of the villains from Tekkaman Blade, or as it was called in America, Technoman, which is an anime from the 70s, and the suit looks exactly like one of the suits from that anime.
I've heard of it, but never watched it.
Yeah, it's old. It doesn't hold up well, besides the actual quote-unquote fighting scenes, but the rest of it is too old. But yeah, this is kind of unlike for a Ninja Gaiden game, because usually you expect the final boss to turn into some kind of demon monster, but here it's like a tech suit or something like that. And it's not even a reference to, even though this is the final boss from Shadow of the Ninja, it's not even a reference to that, because the final boss of Shadow of the Ninja doesn't transform at all, so...
Yeah, so I would argue that this is the hardest boss sequence, just because it has two phases. You don't get any health power-ups, nothing. Like, you go in there with 6 hit points, or whatever hit points that you have, whatever Nimpo you have, and you have to endure basically 2 boss fights. And the fights are fundamentally easy. Like, if you look at them, you're like, oh, that's pretty easy. But the Green Power Ranger, or Goldar, or whomever you want to call this thing, does this thing where it will shoot out 3 rockets in front of him, and your sword is just long enough to hit him while the 3 rockets are out, but the 3 rockets go in a pattern to dodge, and sometimes the dodging's a little iffy just because Game Boy hitboxes. And it could pose a little bit of a challenge, like an unseen challenge, just because of just how close you have to be to hit this thing.
And, you know, especially if you're playing through casually, you're faced with, here's the boss, and then in front of the boss are the 3 rockets that you mentioned, and then here's you. So, yeah, okay, let me see how this is going to shake out. And so you might recognize that the timing is in such a way where you can avoid them, because it goes, the middle one shoots out first, then the bottom one, and then the top one. The top one is basically inconsequential. You're really worried about the middle and the bottom one. So you can get in there, duck down, get your hits in, and then jump before the bottom one starts to fire. But you have to remember at the same time, that's right about when he's going to jump to his next spot on the screen. So... you're avoiding both the boss and the rockets, at least one of them, if not two. And because they are staggered, you can end up getting doubled up on those rockets. So you got to be judicious with your attack selection there, and it obviously becomes easier when you become familiar with the pattern. But when I remember sitting down in the GDQ practice room playing through that game blind for the first time, and obviously, and I was baffled by this boss. It's like, this is impossible. Going back through that auto scroller time after time to get back to him, this jerk.
Like, if you look at the fight, like, if you watch someone do the fight, and you're just like, oh, it's not that hard. You just literally just duck and jump and just walk to the other side. But, like, when you're actually, like, doing it, you don't realize that, like, how close you are to everything at all. So, but, once you beat the game, you get to see a picture of what's-his-face with a cut through his chest, typical anime fashion. And this is the best part that gets me, because what did Asia call this game? Ninja Skyscraper?
Yeah.
Was that what it was? Yeah.
Fight on Skyscraper, yeah, whatever.
So at the end of the game, when you're in Ryu fashion, you're walking away from the scene of the crime, it looks like Castlevania's castle in the background on some tree roots. It's not a cityscape at all. It's a castle or some sort of medieval fortress.
Maybe Castlevania translated incorrectly to skyscraper.
Maybe.
I don't know, man.
But I don't know either. But
everybody knows those castles in New York, right? I mean, there's so many of them.
And also in the credits, it says sound. And the name is Don, D-O-N.
Okay.
I just watched the credit roll now, so.
Good old Don.
So there you go. Thanks, Don. Appreciate it.
And then you're done with the game. So that's pretty good.
And you are done with the game.
Yep. Yeah. And you get it's a pretty awesome outro. With him.
It's a very good outro,
and the good music again. I mean, it's just chock full of good music.
Yeah, it's a very, very good outro. I typically game outros to me are kind of whatever, because it's typically just a credit roll and it says thank you or thanks for playing or the end or congratulations or whatever the Ghostbusters ending screen was, and then you have to reset your Game Boy. But this game actually, like, the outro is, I would say, one of the best outros I've seen in a Game Boy game, along with, like, Avenging Spirits as well, too, because, like, the two endings Avenging Spirit has, because it's animated and it finishes the story.
A wind
blows.
Right.
A wind blows. Like, the Mega Mans are very well known for this, too, to have amazing outros.
Yeah, you don't usually see that. Like, it's usually just a credit roll at the end of Game Boy games, but there are some like this one that actually have, like, a little cutscene in them. To just round it up. It's kind of like Castlevania, Belmont's Revenge, I guess, where Soleil and his dad are pissing off the cliff on Dracula's grave. So, I mean,
Christopher, okay. Let's respect the lore. Okay?
I forgot the name because we all know Soleil is the best Belmont there ever was. So that's why I forgot, really.
No.
I mean, when one's named Christopher and the other one's named Soleil, like, one's a little bit more memorable than the other.
If we're gonna go on this tangent here, Soleil got possessed by Dracula. Okay, Chris doesn't. Chris has to beat. Sorry, legs. Chris has to beat that in order to get Soleil back to normal again. All right.
This looks like Chris's blood. Oh, that's a different game series. I'm sorry. I was thinking Dracula and Chris, and my mind went elsewhere. Chris Belmont.
I mean, we could all agree that Sonya Belmont is the best vampire hunter. So, I can bring it, Castlevania people.
I just want to know why Juiced Belmont is an Alucard cosplayer. Like, I've never understood that. Like, if you look at him and Maxim, like, Maxim looks like he should be the Belmont in that game, and Juice looks like, hey, I'm Alucard, hanging out, gonna have a real floaty jump. Like, I don't know. I like that game a lot though, but I just like the character design's weird for me.
I just loved how I said Sonya Belmont's the best Belmont because no one likes Castlevania Legends.
I've never played Legends, so I can't refute that. I mean, it's possible that it's better than Castlevania Adventure 1.
Well, okay, yes. That is no dispute, period.
I know that Legends is non-canonical. I know that.
It is.
True, yeah.
Yeah. Box art. We'll do box art quick, and then we'll take a break because I need coffee. Japanese box art is the best box art. No surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also the only one where they actually put effort into a new box art. Unlike where the European and the American box art are literally just the box art for the NES version of Ninja Gaiden, but cropped.
True.
Like that. That's basically all there is to it.
Here's a weird thing, though. So I just mentioned that there is a castle or some sort of medieval fortress in the background when you walk away in the staff roll.
Yeah.
In the box art for all three of these regions, it shows a city skyline in the background.
Yeah, it's just New York. I'm pretty sure it says at the title.
But in the game, there is no city skyline except at the very beginning. At the very beginning, stage, there's a skyline, but you're walking away from Castlevania's castle at the end of the game.
Yeah, makes no sense, but whatever. I mean... Yeah, I'm pretty sure like they showed a Statue of Liberty in the intro of this game.
I think so too, yeah.
So yeah, like I said, all those castles in New York, it's amazing.
It's just like Banishing Racer, where the Statue of Liberty turns into an angel and flies away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so back to the box art. So the Japanese box art is designed very anime-like. In the foreground, you have, assumingly, Ryu without a mask on. Screaming with a sword. I don't know if he's fallen off of a roof or what's going on there. And then in the background has a city skyline of probably New York. And then as we scroll down here, we got Ninja Gaiden Shadow, which is the American version. Yeah, it's literally the Ninja Gaiden box art from NES.
Yeah. The same with Shadow Warriors. It's just
I've never seen
the
NES
one. Box art. Yeah, they didn't put much effort into that, sadly. Yeah, well, whatever. It shows recognition for the brand, I guess. So
I suppose. Media and reception of this game.
Yeah, I have a few. It wasn't like. It's kind of weird. Like, a lot of review magazines, or, well, I guess websites weren't really a thing back there. I mean, 92, there might have been, but it's probably magazines. They just gave it like a 6.5 out of 10 most of the time, something like that.
That's about what I'd give it.
Yeah, there aren't that many that give more. Like, there's a few newer ones that give it like an 80 or a 90 out of 100.
Oh, it's way too high.
Which is probably too high indeed. But I feel like 60 is a little bit low as well, because this is a really good game. The only thing it doesn't have going for it compared to some other games that came out in 91, like maybe the length. Like, this is a really short game, all in all. So, but besides that, it's a really fun game that I love to revisit once. Not once, every now and then. That was the word I was going for. So yeah, I play this a lot actually through the year, just because I can, and it's a pretty short game.
I've definitely beaten this game more than once, just because it's like, hey, I can beat a Ninja Gaiden game in one sitting, want to see, and I can just do it because I can't beat the NES versions.
Yeah,
I think there's something to that, to be honest. I think that was at least part of the original appeal for me as well. That I mean, finding out that there was a Ninja Gaiden game on Game Boy, because for me, Game Boy is the gift that keeps on giving in that regard. There's so many games that I just did not know about when I was a kid. I mean, I had a Game Boy, and I certainly had my share of games, but I didn't know there was Ninja Gaiden Shadow. I didn't know so many of them. I didn't even have Super Mario Land. I love that game, but I just never owned it. So yeah, I mean, through you guys specifically, I found out about this whole new world of Game Boy games that beyond the few that I had experience with as a kid. And being, like you say, I mean, that's so true, EBC. Like, hey, I can beat a Ninja Gaiden game. And then for me, it was like, well, if I can beat this Ninja Gaiden game, maybe I could actually beat the other ones, the NES ones. And then, and sure enough, I was indeed able to. So
I'll never forget the time I was watching you play Alien Wars on Super Nintendo, and I was like, "Hey, you should play the Game Boy version."
Yep.
And your face lit up. You're like, "There's a Game Boy version?"
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah.
It's so many games, for me. Trip World was another one. I know it's only a tech demo, but I mean, like you find out about that game, it's like, wait. Not only is there a Sunsoft game on Game Boy, but it's like got a classic banging Sunsoft soundtrack that is right up there with any great Sunsoft soundtrack, which is, for me, among the highest praise you can give any soundtrack in a video game.
And hella adorable.
Oh yeah, super adorable. And it has that Kirby vibe to it, which that's high praise too.
Yeah.
I don't say that lightly to you, EBC, because I mean, Kirby is serious business around here, I'm sure. But I mean, Trip World. Yeah, Trip World is like, man, what are you like? Where did that come from? I know that game is like super rare and costs $1.5 billion, but I mean, that one I can be forgiven for not knowing about. But Ninja Gaiden Shadow feels like I probably should have heard about that at some point. So it's real cool that you can stumble across these new things, and with Ninja Gaiden it can open up these new horizons to this wonderful, this sprawling and wonderful series of games that goes across so many different platforms. Not just the NES versions, but you got that Master System version that's a totally different type of game too, but is pretty cool. It's kind of all right. And then you can make fun of the Ninja Gaiden trilogy games because I don't know what they were thinking. You got the PC Engine that Ninja Ryuken did for PC Engine, which if you like the worst parallax in quotes scrolling.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. I mean, not only did they change the music, it's not terrible, but like don't know why you changed Ninja Gaiden music. It's a pretty similar feeling game, but the spin slash is an OP, and the scrolling is like it. I don't think there's anyone that can look at that game and not get motion sickness. It's disgusting. So but I mean, it's cool that where you can dip your toe into a series and have it become swimming in this sea of wonderful different games that you may not have either experienced only sparingly or really didn't experience too much, and then you broaden your horizons. And that's, I mean, anytime you can do that in gaming, especially when you're talking about 30-year-old games, like that's awesome. That's just wonderful.
Yeah, and the franchise is still quote unquote going strong. Like, it's been a few years since a new one came out, but Ninja Gaiden has a lot of newer games as well. Like even the DS games from Ninja Gaiden, where you have to use the pen as a sword, are pretty darn cool. If you ask me, like, I really loved that game. I don't remember the name of it, but it was pretty cool.
Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword.
Yeah, probably.
Get it? Because everything had to be DS. So
yeah, everything had to have use with a stylus. But yeah, I like that game a lot. And Ninja Gaiden Black, I think, is also a very well received one.
Yeah, it's a good game.
And then you have the Sigma series, which I also kind of liked playing through. So yeah, it's still a very good franchise even to this day.
The newest Ninja Gaiden came out in 2014 called Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z.
Right. Okay. There you go. That's the last
for
one,
the PS3, Xbox 360.
Yeah.
You know what was fascinating for me? I didn't know anything about the creators of Ninja Gaiden. I just knew it was Tecmo. So when and I should have known his name before I started this conversation, but the fella what made the Xbox Ninja Gaiden games, the guy who had a very distinct sense of style. He always wore his sunglasses and his leather jacket, always had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Okay.
Like,
you're talking about a real life person?
Yeah, the actual main producer, I guess you'd call him, or main director of the modern Ninja Gaiden games.
Itagaki?
Yeah, Itagaki. Right, thank you.
Okay. Right.
So, I just always assumed, he's been on Ninja Gaiden since forever. Not true! He did not work on the NES Ninja Gaiden games. I believe he didn't even work for Tecmo in those days. Like, that blew my mind. I was like, wait a minute. So, like, this Johnny-come-lately guy, like, God bless him, he's got this obvious passion, but he was a DOA guy. He got in on that series.
Yeah.
And obviously put a stamp on Tecmo and on gaming in general, because, I mean, that game, you see that for the first time, like, oh my God, how did you make something look so good? And, I mean, this was in the wake of Tekken and everything, and he hates Tekken, which is hilarious to me, because I love Tekken. But, I mean, that's how he got into Tecmo, as I recall, was through the DOA game. So then he took over Ninja Gaiden, and I just assumed, like, oh yeah, he's a long-standing employee who has those ties back to Ninja Gaiden. But no. And it suddenly made so much more sense. Like, oh, okay, that's why it's a totally different game. And the main takeaway that he had was, I don't know, make it crazy, stupid hard. Like, because you don't really have a lot of the similar style, but you have, the ninja with the same name, and then the game punches your teeth down your throat, and you have to try to find a mouth guard somewhere along the way. That's basically it. So I don't know. That was just surprising to me. So I don't know if others,
if it makes
common
you feel
knowledge
better
or not. But
if it makes you feel better, Itagaki joined Tecmo in '92 and was mentored by Inose.
Okay,
is the original Ninja Gaiden guy.
So that's probably why he goes back to it, I guess. But did he work on him or not?
No.
Okay, so there you go. So
his
he was
first
there,
game
but
he
he
worked.
didn't work on him. Yeah.
The first game he worked on was Super Tecmo, and then his breakthrough game was Dead or Alive.
Right.
Yeah, DOA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he worked on the Tecmo Super Bowl for the Super Nintendo. Is that what you're saying? That was his first game?
Super Famicom. Yeah.
Well, sorry. Yeah, that makes more sense. Wow, that's amazing. Like, I always noticed too. I always thought that this was cross promotion, although I don't know that the timeline works out. But if you notice, in that first Ninja Gaiden game, there are football guys that have no earthly business being in a game of that thing. Was that cross promotion with Tecmo Bowl? That's what I always assumed, because I was like, why else would football men be in this game about a ninja fighting demons and trying to rescue his father? Like it's just foolishness. But I don't know. I always thought that was kind of cute.
Yes, I sent you all a link if you want to see.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
The list of stuff that he's done. But yeah, we're gonna take a quick break because we gotta wrap up here soon. Quick break, and then we're gonna give another quick thoughts in history. I know NME's already given a lot of it, but I want to hear what Mo has to say, and then the wrap up. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. So, thoughts and history of Ninja Gaiden Shadow. I'm going to start with you, Mo, because I know we've talked a lot about our thoughts and history at the game already, but I see in the notes you have some other things that you didn't talk about yet.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with the franchise of Ninja Gaiden at all. Like, I had never heard of the NES games or anything like that. This game actually came to me in one of those 101 in 1 cards. I'm pretty sure it was called Shadow Warriors on there, so I played it through that way, and yeah, I always really enjoyed this game. It was a really fun game, even as a kid, and I'm not sure if I beat it back then. Doesn't really matter, really, but I always played this a bunch of times, so yeah, I always enjoyed playing this, and then I got into the NES games. I think I have only beaten the first one, though. I don't think I've beaten 2 and 3 at all, but yeah, this one is always fun. And like I mentioned before, I do like to play through this game like a few times a year, just because it's so easy to pick up and beat real quick. So it's always fun to do.
Yeah, I history with me. I actually didn't know a Ninja Gaiden game for the Game Boy existed until 2015 when I started speedrunning, and I saw a few people learning the game. I was like, oh, neat, Ninja Gaiden on the Game Boy. And then I played it, and I was like, hey, I can be a Ninja Gaiden game. But yeah, I grew up with Ninja Gaiden 1. I remember I remember getting it for Christmas or birthday or something and playing it, hating it as a kid because I couldn't beat it at all. I could beat like the first 2 bosses. After that, I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to playing like Mega Man or something I know I can play. But I never played 2 and 3 just because I grew to not like this series at an early age just because of how hard it was. Definitely it was not meant for children. So as an adult, I appreciate the series more. But yeah, Ninja Gaiden to me was just kind of like, yeah, it's a thing. I know it exists, but I really don't care. Give me Mega Man, give me Castlevania, give me something fun. Ninja Gaiden, though, Ninja Gaiden Shadow is a decent game. It's definitely worth a playthrough. I wouldn't give it an 80 or a 90% out of 100. I'd give it like a solid like 70, 75%. But yeah, no, it's good. I even throw a speed run at it once in a while too, just to, show people I can still move my fingers quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I grew up similarly with the Ninja Gaiden games for NES 1 and 2. I never owned them, but they were ubiquitous with the platform. Basically, I mean, you couldn't play the Nintendo and not play Ninja Gaiden at some point. So I certainly had my share of getting whooped by those games. Never approached beating either one of them, of course. And in fact, years ago when I was really still a neophyte in speedrunning, I had occasion to kind of try to learn some of Ninja Gaiden 2, and it broke me mentally, to be perfectly honest. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. It was beyond my capabilities at the time. I just got so frustrated. Actually, that's not true. I could have done it, but I just got so worked up over playing that game and like how frustrating it could be. Which I mentioned because now it's like probably one of my 2 favorite speedruns of any game that I speedrun. And there's quite a few now over these years. So it's funny how perspective and time and other games can contribute to changing your opinion on a speedrun in particular, or just a game in general. And I mentioned that, and to bring it all back into what we're talking about today, Ninja Gaiden Shadow, because I think this was really what set all of those wheels into motion. It was finding out about this game and thinking that, like, oh, this looks way more approachable. Like, maybe I can dip my toes into these waters and see how that goes. And wound up going pretty well, and then I could parlay that into maybe giving another shot to Ninja Gaiden 2, and then ultimately Ninja Gaiden 1 as well, which is much harder than Ninja Gaiden 2. So, in case anyone's wondering why I went in that order, and still hope at some point to get into Ninja Gaiden 3 too, because I mean that game it has a lot of style, a lot of substance to it as well, and really good music. So hopefully at some point I'll learn that game. But Ninja Gaiden Shadow, whenever it's time to run a Game Boy game, for a marathon or for a showcase or whatever, I mean that's game number 1 is Ninja Gaiden Shadow for me, because there's actually a little bit of meat on that bone, and I can actually operate it at a high level. Some of these games I can get through competently, but not really at a high level. Some of them they're like you mentioned Barbie Game Girl before, not a whole lot of game to it. It's a little bit lean on the actual inputs and the actual content. But so Ninja Gaiden Shadow really toes that line between style and substance, I think, and and the fact that it could get me into these notoriously difficult games that not really plagued my childhood, but definitely like whooped me as a child. I think that's wonderful, and I really enjoy this game. I always relish the opportunity to get to play it and to talk about it with you guys today.
Yeah, I don't know, cool game. But I'm not gonna do another break. We're just gonna go right into outro.
Yeah. We don't have to cover the speedrun because we basically did it throughout the episodes anyways.
Yeah, it was well
but I must say, this is probably one of the biggest boards that there is for Game Boy speedrunning. Like, it has 28 entries at this time.
Kirby.
Of course, you can't compare it to like Super Mario Land or Kirby or anything, but from the lesser speedrun games, this one sticks out really well because like basically everybody can learn to speedrun this game. Am I even on the board? I am not even. Wow. See?
All right,
I have
homework
something
for
to
Mo.
do sometime. I'll go for place 29 then. Yeah.
There you go. But community events related to Game Boy, I didn't write anything down because I didn't do. Oh, Power Up with Pride Winter is coming up. It's sometime in December. Midwinter Speedball, which is another speedrunning event. They have dates out. I forgot. I think it's. I'll look. God. Well, I put midball instead of speedball because I'm smart. There we go. I can't find it quickly, so just know that that's coming up. I'll look up dates next time because I'm pretty sure that's in like January. AGDQ in January is gonna be online. I get to find out this weekend if I'm in AGDQ or not. That's fun. Hopefully, I get Shaq Fu in.
I highly doubt that, but yeah.
Wow, no, I'm gonna be the opener for Awful Block with Shaq Fu Game Boy. Tiny 10, that's a thing coming up in November 21st, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think when this episode comes out, actually.
Mid-November.
First it's Your Light at the 7th, and then it's the 21st would be this one, which is the day of the Tiny 10, actually.
Cool, so go to Retro Gaming Live TV on twitch.tv to watch the Tiny 10 as you're listening to this episode. I can't think of any other things happening. NME, you're involved with a lot of stuff. What events are happening that people should tune into?
Oh goodness. Well, I mean, yeah, if that's when it's going to be. I'm debating whether or not to say something that may or may not actually happen. That is planned for right around the time after this comes out. So perhaps not. But always check in with RGL TV, twitch.tv/Retro Gaming Live TV. We always have cool events going on there. Lots of tournaments, lots of our newish knockout one night only tournament format has been well received. Marathons coming up. It is fast approaching marathon season. Usually at the end of the year we do. We ramp that up, and then it leads us right into the marathon season in the spring, kicking off with RG Love and everything. But that's for 2021, which I assume we'll all survive to make it to. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Other than that, I may be doing some more streaming myself on my channel. At least somewhat more than zero is still more, so accurate. I don't know how regular that will be, so I don't want to put anyone onto a schedule. But if you want to check me out, twitch.tv/NMEtv, or on Twitter @NME Yay YAY, you can do that. And that's that way I can say, hey, I'm going live now, and then I will go live probably.
Y'all should definitely follow, especially for the Macho Man memes.
Oh yeah, I was not prepared for that. My voice is not properly warmed up. For the Macho Man, oh yeah, the madness, yeah, dig it.
I'm still waiting for you to play Skyrim with the Macho Man mod.
I am familiar with that. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know about the whole plain Skyrim part here anymore, but
Yeah, I would not do that.
but I mean, I can go on YouTube and enjoy
I mean,
it.
it's coming out for the PS5.
I'm
Might as
sure.
well get
I
ready.
think it's coming out for the Game Boy at some point here soon. So I think
It's
that's
already
pretty cool.
out. It's already out for the Game Boy. It's called Dragonheart.
Oh, there you go.
Did we have any questions, Mo? We
A lot of memeing about that every game with some sort of a ninja is a Ninja Gaiden game, but besides that,
that's right.
Yeah, besides that, there is literally no actual question. So, yeah, I mean, people know this game, so there weren't any questions. No.
It wasn't Tiny 10 #1, so if you don't know it by then you'll never know it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it by then, and then I knew it. Just saying.
All right. Outro. So I'm gonna just barrel through this. I forgot how our outro works. You can. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember now. I'm still trying to wake up. I remember now. You can find me, eBloodyCandy, EBC, whatever you want to call me nowadays, at eBloodyCandy on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, and Instagram. I do post on Instagram once in a while, but YouTube I actually have the OG eBloodyCandy, so you can actually just do the /C or /U, whatever it is, /eBloodyCandy, and I do stream on YouTube now as well. So, suck at Twitch. And where can they find you, Mo?
You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, all /Moelle, which is MOELLEUH. I wish I didn't have to spell this every time, but that's just my life.
It's true. And again, you can find our fantastic special guest today, NMEtv, or NME, at NME on Twitter. It's NMEtv on Twitch, right?
Yep.
Yeah, NMEtv on Twitch, and then Enemy Invader.
Yeah, good luck trying to spell that one. Here you go, Mo. NMENVADR. Yeah. Not a lot of forethought went into this.
Yeah, that's still easier. Still easier.
True.
I like it, but it's terrible for audience reach.
That's fair. Yeah, and then you can... Did I already do legs? Oh, I haven't done legs yet. You can find our wonderful producer, Legs, at SprintingLegs on Twitch, Twitter. I think she's just Legs on YouTube, and you can find her as Legs in the Discord as well, too. And she has a project website, www.sprintinglegs.com, where you can see all the cool things that she has been working on whenever she's not making us sound semi-professional.
Yeah, and maybe something has come out before this episode airs. So I'm not gonna say what yet, but she mostly has been working on something in the background. We all have been helping out with it, but maybe it's out by then, and that's pretty exciting actually. So
maybe there'll be a Kotaku, whatever the hell they are.
A Kotaku article yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Peeb's got one. And then you can also find all this information at... Oh, no, we got to do Patreon. We have a Patreon. I forgot how to do our outro. We have a Patreon, so if you do want to support the stream monetarily, you can do so there. There's tiers that give you access to things behind the scenes and pieces of the podcast and things of that nature. Once we hit $20 a month, statically, we'll start doing these things live, so you can see how gross I look in the mornings. And then if you don't want to do the whole subscription Patreon thing, we do have a PayPal, so if you just do want to do that one-time thing, amazing, awesome. Just let us know, because we do want to thank you. We want to give you the perks and everything else, but we can't tie PayPal in with Discord or anything else. So please let one of the three of us know, and we can get you and thank you and do whatever we need to do with you through that. And you can also support us non-monetarily. Just listening to the podcast episodes is enough. Leaving a 5-star review saying how amazing eBloodyCandy's voice is on this podcast and how much they prefer to listen to Mo's lights more than mine is more than acceptable. It's more than helpful, especially when it comes to search engine weird technical stuff and getting known on podcast lists and whatnot. We understand this is a pretty niche podcast, so and you can find all of this information on thisisgameboy.com, right?
Yeah,
we have that now. Yeah,
we got the URL. Yay!
thisisgameboy.com. Also, we have a YouTube channel, or if you don't want to listen to it on the other things, or if you want to see a fancy little bouncy thing on the screen, you can go watch all of our episodes on YouTube. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. That's
nailed it.
Pretty much everything. Well, yeah, on the actual website you can find links to everything, so you don't have to type in anything. That's always very useful.
The website even has the last episode that was posted. So if you don't want to go to SoundCloud, you can just go to the website.
Yeah.
Cool. Nailed it. 10 out of 10. What are we playing next?
I don't know what we're playing next, but yeah.
Oh, you put 10 games. Oh, no.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to do one of these games for a long time, but we haven't really gotten to it. But I'm not sure which one, so you can actually pick with it whichever one you would prefer. But I want to do one of the Infogrames games, which features music by Alberto Gonzalez, because one of the most amazing composers ever for video games. So yeah, I'll let you pick. It can be one or both of the Tintin games. It can be Spirou. It can be Lucky Luke. It can be Smurfs. I don't know. You can choose whatever you want. Actually, I've played through all of them, I think so.
I didn't realize Smurfs was an Infogrames game.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Asterix and Obelix, like any Belgian/French comic, basically is an Infogrames game and has Gonzalez music.
Oh, Tintin and Tabel. Oh, God. I played one Tintin game. It was the Sun one with the slider puzzle at the end. And I about wanted to throw myself out the window. I beat it, but man, did I not enjoy it. I'm trying to think of something. I don't like Bomb Jack. That game can eat one too. I know you.
That doesn't have Gonzalez music, anyways.
Oh, good. Was Asterix a Gonzalez game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do Asterix. That's a very European game.
Yeah. First Asterix game it is then.
Yeah, we're doing Asterix.
All right, and with that, we are gone for the next 2 weeks. Well,
forever.
I'll probably show up with my light after this one, but you'll be gone for a month before the next episode comes out. But yeah, I want to definitely thank NME for joining us for this episode.
Yeah, for sure.
We had to plan this in correctly because we have been planning this for a few months already.
I think we started planning this before coronavirus.
I think
that may actually be true.
Definitely.
Which is, man, that just made me sad. I just depressed myself. That sucks.
It's like 6 months ago.
Yeah. But anyway, but in happier note, thank you guys so much for having me. It was a blast to talk about this game. I love Ninja Gaiden Shadow.
Yeah, it was your pick basically. So we definitely went with it because we all at least like this game.
It's enjoyable.
At least like this game, so that's a good thing.
Enjoyable from EBC means it's like a 15 out of 10 on anyone else's.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
True. It's enjoyable. We'll put it at that. It's worth a playthrough, unlike Super Mario Land 2.
How?
Garbage game.
When can I come back on and debate this with you?
I'm ready for whenever we talk about Mario Land 2, which will probably be never because it's a popular game for some unknown reason.
Yes. It boggles the mind.
All right. Well, anyway, yeah, that's the outro. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, NME, again for joining. Next time you hear from Mo and I together, we're going to talk about Asterix, which is a very European game just in general. I think My Light is next, even, isn't it? Maybe, I don't know.
No, mine will be.
Oh, good.
Which I don't know what this. I don't know what it's about.
Not Mario Land 2. All right. Anyway, y'all, thanks for listening. Bye. See ya next time in a month during Tiny 10. Make sure to watch that on Retro Gaming Live TV on Twitch TV. Bye.
Goodbye.
Shout out to Blegs.